All right, should be live now. What's going on, guys? Sorry about the slight delay there. Let me tweet out the live stream real quick, and then we'll get into it. So just bear with me 1 second here. This is an ugly slate. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of it is dependent on Aaron Gordon news. I know I've said that a lot, but it really is. If he's in, makes the value really, really tricky on the slate, almost forces you to a balanced approach. Unfortunately, we're not going to get that news for a while, and we have a lot of solid plays in this first game, like Jimmy Butler, Bam, and Adebayo, that are in the mid-range. So it's all up to what you guys want to do there. It's a really, really tricky one. Again, I recommend playing light. I am not going big on this slate. Just that news changes everything, and it's a late game, or it's a later game, so... Yeah, I'm taking the approach right now. I'm going more of these stars and scrubs build and hoping Aaron Gordon's out. If he gets rolled in, I'm going to be in a tough spot. So that's why I recommend really do not play a lot of money today. Play light. This is just a tricky slate and not one I would put a lot of money into. So let's go over the news so far really quick. Oladipo's in, kind of expected that. Jay Crowder in. So no one's out in the first game. What's up, guys? So let's go over the over-unders and spreads here. Heat Pacers is a 217. Let's see. Okay, 217 over under. Heat are 4-point favorites. Thunder Rockets 226 over under. Rockets are 2.5-point favorites. Magic Bucks 226.5 over under. Bucks are 13-point favorites. Trailblazers Lakers 228.5 over under. 6.5-point favorites. The Lakers are. Also, really quick recap of last night. I actually did end up cashing in the lower dollar tournament. Lou Williams brought me into the cash. Just really, I feel like I got a bit unlucky there. LeVert shot 5 of 22, and the Philly-Boston game blew out. The Boston guys were all low-owned, which I was surprised about. So if you got to those guys, we got a bit unlucky there. It could have been a huge night, but can't complain. I think I was on the right play there with LeVert and those Boston guys and Joel Embiid. Thibault, that was probably a mistake on my part, but it did open up for me to get other things. So let's get into the player-by-player breakdown. If you guys knew the live stream, knew how it works, I'm just going to give you, again, team-by-team breakdown, cash plays, GPP plays, answer any questions you guys have at the end. We're going a little bit behind, so I'm going to try to go pick up the pace and talk really fast here. So let's do it. Jake Anderson, really quick, though, $5 super chat. Thank you, man. Hopefully you cashed last night. It was a little bit of an ugly slate with the blowouts and stuff like that, but... great call, and Royce. Hey, thanks, man. Really appreciate that. Who's your top value today? It's tricky. I'm going with the Magic value right now, but I'm assuming Aaron Gordon doesn't play. If he plays, I'm going to be in a tough spot. There are a couple plays in the late game with the Lakers, potentially Rajon Rondo's min price. If he plays, I think he probably gets at least 15 minutes and then would definitely become a viable play. Do you want to take a shot on Dion Waiters? I think there's a decent chance he gets in the rotation this game after the Lakers really struggled shooting. But that's obviously a really risky play because he could just get a DNP. So, yeah, that's my thoughts there. Right now I have the Magic value, but don't feel amazing about it, especially if Aaron Gordon plays. Talk about Miami and Indiana. So, on the Miami side, also, we're going to have overreactions too. This is, game 2 now? There's going to a lot of people focusing on game 1 like they did. A lot of people avoided Royce O'Neal last game. I said that. I thought that was a mistake. You saw it happen game 2. There's going to be people, chasing Game 1 scores. Not saying LeBron's a bad play, but I think he's going to be way over-owned compared to Anthony Davis. I just like the ownership more on AD today. So stuff like that, right? Don't necessarily chase every single game and expect the same outcome. So Miami Heat and the Pacers. Two of my favorite plays in the mid-range are Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. Both going to play 35-plus minutes. Jimmy's a do-it-all guy. Same thing with Bam Adebayo. I love playing guys like that don't necessarily have to score, and when they are scoring, they have enormous upside. So really like both these guys in the mid-range. It's just, how are you going to go about building a roster? Are you going to go the stars and scrubs? Are you going to go one of the Lakers guys or Giannis or Harden? And then take shots and value plays that right now don't look great, or do you want to go more balanced and avoid the stars, but then you're really lacking a huge upside if we get like a 80 fantasy point game from Harden or Giannis goes nuts, right? So that's why it's a really, really tricky slate, but I do like those guys quite a bit here in the mid-range. Goran Dragic at 5'9". I still have interest in him. His ownership's going to drop significantly. Definitely prefer getting to Jimmy and Bam for a couple $1,000s more, but I don't think Goran's out of play, just not my favorite play for his price. Hero's the other guy that got big run off the bench, played 34 minutes. It looks like those four are kind of the core four right now, whereas the other four guys are kind of fighting for scrap time. So Hero at 5'2", just seems priced about right. Not my favorite play, but I think he's solid. The other, don't play none. He's not in the rotation. The other guys, Olynyk, Jay Crowder, Duncan Robinson, and Iguodala, as well as even Derek Jones Jr. will get a few minutes. they're all fighting for like scrap time here. So no one's going to play huge run. I'm not going to Kelly O. I don't think I get to Jay Crowder at 4K. The one guy I would consider, I think, would be Duncan Robinson, just because he has the upside to hit threes. The minutes have been up and down on him, but if he's playing well, if he's shooting threes, or if he's making threes, they will leave him out there, and he can get 30-plus minutes. He's a Miami guy I would take a shot on just because I think he has the most upside out of the value options. So let's move on to the Pacers now. Pacers, this is a tricky one. I don't know if anyone really stands out now that Oladipo's playing. I mean, you had a big game from Brogdon. You had a pretty decent game there from T.J. Warren, but that was with Victor Oladipo only playing like 8 minutes, right? So we're not going to get that again. We're going to have Oladipo play 32, 35 minutes or so, somewhere around there. So the Pacers are a stay away from me right now. I don't think I want to get to anyone here. Miami, it's not a good matchup for them. I'm not getting to the value with Oladipo playing. So Oladipo, Turner, Brogdon, or Turner, and T.J. Warren. If you want to take a shot, fine. But on this slate, they're a complete stay away from me. So let's move on to OKC. OKC is a team I have a little bit more interest in. So Chris Paul, he was the thumbnail of my video. Currently don't have him in my lineup, but I still like him at 8K. He played 37 minutes, had a slow start, and still went for 51 fantasy points. Definitely has that triple-double upside in this type of matchup. And OKC did not shoot the ball well. I expect him to shoot a little bit better here. So I have interest in CP3, but I also like the other guards. So SGA, probably not, but Schroeder's the guy I have interest in. So SGA just really, really been struggling. You could see a decent game from him, but I would just rather get to Schroeder off the bench at 5'5". I mean, it sets up for this 3-guard lineup, right? Because Houston runs really small. So Schroeder should get 35 minutes or so. He just had a really bad shooting day, 3 of 12. We're not going to get 11 fancy points from Dennis Schroeder again in this matchup and him shoot 3 of 12. Like, his upside is, when playing well, 40-plus fancy points. And this is a game I could see. You could see the upside here from Schroeder. So I kind of like him. I think the ownership is not going to be behind him because people are just going to look at that last game and avoid him. I think that's a mistake. I like Schroeder. I also like Steven Adams here. The reason being, I was worried they might limit his minutes against a small ball Houston team. They did not. They put him 28 minutes, and he did not play the last 7 minutes of the fourth quarter. I think that was because they were down and they needed shooting. If this is a close game, you could see over 30 minutes from Steven Adams. If that is the case, I think he makes for a pretty solid play in the mid-range and a guy that I do have interest in. Again, my worry was, do they limit his minutes? Looks like they did not, and I think he could push for over 30 if this game stays close. So Steven Adams is a guy I have interest in at that price. And then I'm not going to get to the value. I'm not going to get to Gallinari at 6'6". So for me, it's Schroeder, it's Steven Adams, and it's Chris Paul there at the top. Let's talk about Houston. So Houston, 2 plays and 2 plays only for me. It's Harden at 11-7. It's just what do you have to sacrifice to get him in there? He had a floor game for his standards. It's basically 60 fantasy points with no Russell Westbrook is his floor. He has potential to go for 80-plus and break the slate. You're going to have to make a tough call. I really like Harden. That's obviously not a contrarian take, right? The studs look really good. It's just what do you have to sacrifice to get him in? So really like Harden. Full disclosure, he is currently in my lineup. I am fading Giannis. I do not feel good about that. But the studs I have, I'm going Harden. I'm going Anthony Davis right now. Let's see. Roko's at 6K. I think he's fine in the mid-range. He'll get decent minutes, but kind of has to knock down those threes. Not a guy I'm prioritizing. The only other guy I'll consider here is Eric Gordon. He's the number 2 in the offense. His issue is he is scoring dependent, but the price dropped. The price dropped $600. He's a guy that, when shooting well, can go for easily 35-plus fantasy points. So I have interest in Eric Gordon. My concern is the floor is somewhat low if he's not hitting his shots, but he is right now the number 2. Not going to get to House. I'm not chasing Jeff Green. I know he had a good shooting day. There's just no way I'm paying 4.8 for Jeff Green in the slate. Don't play Tucker or Rivers or McMore. Just not needed. So it's Harden, it's Eric Gordon, and that's it. Let's talk about Orlando and Milwaukee. So this is the game. This is key. And the big news, obviously, like I've talked about so much in the video, is Aaron Gordon. If he plays, that really takes a hit to the Magic value and then takes a lot of them out of play. Like if Aaron Gordon plays, I'm off Gary Clark, Wesson Wundo, Ken Birch maybe don't even play. I still think James Ennis would be viable, but he would take a big hit too. Terrence Ross, I wouldn't pay 4.8 for him. The 2 point guards will still get their run, but that would take a lot of guys out of play for Orlando. Vucevic at 8.8. This is the same exact scenario as Donovan Mitchell last slate. I'll let others chase. We're not going to see 62 again from him, most likely. So I just prefer the other stars in the slate. He's still the same price. If you want to go back to the well, it's fine. But again, I'm not going to go there. I will let others chase that production. Aaron Gordon's at 6'7". If he plays, think he's fine in the mid-range, but probably would prefer other guys, and obviously would be concerned about that hamstring injury. Then now let's talk if Gordon is out. So if Aaron Gordon's out, there is good value here once again. Fournier and Ross are very similar. Fournier's going to play more. Both are scoring-dependent guards. They have to hit their shots. Their price did come up a bit. Ross going to come off the bench and just jack shots. So I think those guys are fine at 5'1 and 4'8. They have to hit their threes, though. I put them, I guess, in the same territory as Eric Gordon. I probably slightly give the edge to Eric Gordon over those guys, but yeah, those two are very, very similar. Fultz and Augustine I still have interest in. Their prices did come up, but Fultz is the starting point guard at 4.5K. I think he looks pretty good if we get 30 minutes out of him. Had a pretty nice day there, 15 points, 6 assists, 2 boards. I think he's certainly viable as a value option. Still think DJ Augustine is in play. I mean, these are the two guards I was all over that first slate. Both went nuts. DJ Augustine was low-owned, 34 fancy points at 3.5K. I still think he's viable at 4-3 just because he's not a guy that he doesn't have to score the ball. He will get you a lot of assists. He'll get you some rebounds. And when he does score, when he goes for 11 points, he has upside in limited run. Now, the concern is he only played 23 minutes. So I thought maybe they run him Fultz a little bit more together. They did not. So that does worry me a bit with his minutes. Right now, I think I'd just slightly give the edge to Fultz just because I feel a little bit more confident with him, with the minutes. James Ennis, I think, is solid at 4K. As long as there's no Aaron Gordon, we're going to see about 30 minutes from him. Not a guy that is enormous upside, but has potential to get you like a double-double, like 10 points, 10 rebounds is not a question for him at 4K, so I would have interest there. Finally, a couple other guys I'll mention. MCW is doubtful, so don't expect him to play. Gary Clark is 3.3K. Not a guy that has huge upside, but if we get like 30 minutes from him, he's fine, right? The floor is low. Look at that game against Brooklyn. 23 minutes, 8 fancy points. Like, he is not really out there for his offense, but you got to assume if he gets 30 minutes, he'll probably fall into some rebounds. He might get a putback or something like that. So, yeah, he's certainly viable if you're going stars and scrubs. And Wound, I wouldn't go there. Last guy I will mention, and this is just a dart throw in GPPs, is Kem Birch. He's going to play more of the backup center role. He played 14 minutes. Normally, he's a better point per minute guy. So I could see like 15 minutes from Birch and like 15 fancy points. And if Vucevic gets in foul trouble, maybe you could see more. But yeah, that's just a dart throw in GPPs. So let's move on to Milwaukee. Milwaukee is, Giannis, they lost last game. That was really, really surprising against a super, super thin Orlando team. He is 11.3K. The price came up. He basically did nothing in the fourth quarter. He was on pace to absolutely smash. Again, didn't do a whole lot in the fourth quarter. I think he's going to want to come out swinging even more in this game. So you got to have interest at Giannis 11.3. Again, you have to make a tough call on this slate if you're going with the stars and scrubs approach with the Lakers stars, with Giannis, with Harden. Full disclosure, I told you guys, I'm going Harden. I'm going Anthony Davis. Am I worried about fading Giannis Antetokounmpo? Of course I am. He's going to come out and I think want to put out a huge, huge game. So yeah, I'm super, super worried about it. I think he is, again, a great play if you can get to him. Middleton's at 7.2. The ownership isn't dropping him big time. He had a bad shooting day. We have still seen big games from Middleton. I think Middleton and Bledsoe are going to step up in this one. Again, people are just going to look at their box score last game and avoid them. I think that is a mistake. I think Middleton is actually a solid play in the mid-range if you're going more the balanced approach. And then I do like Bledsoe, too, at 5.3. I don't have him in right now, but I think we get an upside game here from Eric Bledsoe. Like, he has potential when playing well to go for 40 minutes. He's a pretty good point-per-minute guy. He had a subpar game in 28 minutes, 28.5 fancy points. I think these secondary plays for Milwaukee step up. That is Middleton, that is Bledsoe. I like both in the mid-range if you're going more the balanced approach. Brook Lopez was the absolute chalk last slate. He let a lot of people down. The issue with him is he is kind of a scoring-dependent center. Like, he's got to hit his threes. He's not going to get a lot of rebounds because they stretch the floor and he stands on the three-point line. So that is a slight concern, but we have seen big upside games from Brook Lopez, right? We've seen 40 points a couple times from him already in the bubble. So when he's shooting well, again, the upside is there. And I think, once again, the ownership will drop in him significantly, but I think he has a decent bounce-back game, so I have a little bit interested there. And finally, the value, the one guy I'd consider here for Milwaukee value is George Hill. I think he actually looks pretty decent. Like, we're going to get 25 minutes out of George Hill. He's 4K. Not a guy that's going to break the slate, but I think his outcome is somewhere between 15 to 25-ish fancy points. And I think that's safe, right? I think he's like a safe cash game cheap option. We're going to get, in my opinion, somewhere between 15 to 25 fancy points. I think in a slate that really lacks value right now, potentially could even more lack value if Aaron Gordon plays. Like, George Hill would be a guy I would look to for sure as a value option. Lastly, Portland Lakers. So this one's tricky, at least to the price points on the Portland guys. Like, I just can't get to Lillard at 11K. I'm not getting to Nurkic at 9K, and I can't get to CJ at 7.7. They're just more contrarian plays. Maybe in the late slate get to one of those guys, but I just can't do it on the main slate. Melo's at 5.9. I think he's okay for if you're going balanced approach, but probably for other guys that I mentioned. The one guy that I'm considering here is Hassan Whiteside at 4.9. With no Zach Collins, he played 26 minutes. Now, the worry is he is a guy that when he's out there, he'll foul a lot. So don't be surprised if Whiteside checks in and literally picks up like 3 fouls in 5 minutes and then sets out, and then you're going to be in tough shape. But if he can stay out of foul trouble, and if we get 25 minutes from Whiteside, I think he actually makes for a pretty good value option. He's a good point per minute guy. The issue is he would play alongside Nurkic a bit. Obviously, his upside would be capped a bit there when playing alongside Nurkic. But when he's playing the center position and Nurkic is out, that's when he has potential to get those putbacks, those blocks. Right? We saw 5 blocks from him again. Don't think we would see that again. But I think Whiteside is actually a solid value play and probably my favorite play here on Portland. I'm not going to get to Gary Trent. I prefer Eric Gordon at a similar price. Both are scoring dependent. And Gary Trent's kind of the 5th guy in the offense. He literally has to hit his 3, so I'm not paying 4.8 for him. Wendy and Gabriel's at 3.3. If you need a punt play and Aaron Gordon ends up playing and you're really desperate for value, I don't think it's the worst idea. Like 15 to 20-ish minutes would be my best guess. They're going to need him to guard Anthony Davis for a bit, even though he'll get abused by Anthony Davis. But still, I think he's in play as a punt option. You're not going to feel good about it. And then finally, the Lakers. It's AD, it's LeBron for me. I was all over LeBron last slate at low ownership. He went for 73 fantasy points. He won me that GPP. Right now, I'm hopping off, and I'm going to Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis shot the ball absolutely terribly. 8 of 24. He is not going to shoot 8 of 24 again. He still went for 52 fantasy points, shooting, 33%? That's not going to happen again. I love AD. I think the ownership will go to LeBron. Now, don't get me wrong. I really like LeBron, too. But you can't play both. Well, I guess you could and just hope this game goes to OT. But that's not something you should do in a lot of your lineups. If you're going to make me pick one, it's going to be Anthony Davis. Because I think the flocks will look at that LeBron game and just go to him. Again, I really like both, but I'm going to give the edge to AD. I think he comes in lower owned. I don't think he shoots 8 of 24 again. I can't get to Kyle Kuzma at 6.5. Maybe a late slate play, but it's just too expensive. The value here, there's a couple interesting plays. So KCP and Danny Green played absolutely terrible. They're 3-and-D guys. They have to knock down their threes. Well, KCP shot 0 of 9, 9 fantasy points. Danny Green shot the ball terribly, 4 of 12, 15 fantasy points. If they hit their threes, they have potential to get over 20 fantasy points. But if you're willing to go there, it's fine. Just know the risk, right? The floor is really, really low. I'm not going to get to Caruso at 3.8. There's a couple interesting value plays here. So, first we'll talk about the centers. Centers aren't going to play huge minutes, 15 or so each, but both are solid point per minute guys. If you're desperate for value, I don't hate it, right? I punted last slate with JaVale McGee at 3-1. And it ended up working out for me in 13 minutes. He went for 18 fantasy points. So, I think he's okay as a punt. You're not going to get huge minutes, but he's a good point per minute guy. And then finally, I guess there is a lot to talk about here for value. Markieff Morris, he's at 3.2. He played about 20 minutes. I think if we get 20 minutes again from him, he would be potentially in play. Like, he's a good offensive player, but I think there's a decent chance maybe he doesn't even play. Maybe they give the minutes to Dion Waiters, who I think only played 1 minute but could get into the rotation in this one. He's a good scorer. The Lakers, right, everyone struggles shooting the ball, so I think Dion Waiters could play here. This is like a 1% owned play, but if we get 20 minutes, hear me out on this. If we get 20 minutes from Dion Waiters at 3.4K, I really like that. I just think there's like a 50-50 shot again that he doesn't even play. So are you willing to take that risk? And then finally, Rajon Rondo. If Rondo plays at min price, I like him. He's not the best basketball player, but if we get 15 to 20 minutes from him at the min price in this matchup, I think he's one of the best value plays. It's a thumb injury too, so I don't think he's really going to be out of shape. I don't think conditioning is really an issue for him. So this is actually pretty big news. If Rajon Rondo plays, I like him at min price. So that's it. That's for the breakdown, guys. Let me see. I don't think we're going to get any more news. We got about 5 minutes to lock, so I'll try to answer you guys' questions really quick. Nothing more. All right, how many viewers we got? We're at 300 viewers, guys. If you enjoyed the content, you are not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Trying to hit 4K by the end of the month. Also, hit the like button. Really helps me out to continue to grow the channel. So let's do it, guys. Robinson or Ennis? I think Duncan Robinson's the guy who has more upside if he's shooting the ball well. Probably right now, I think Ennis is the safer option. I'll play Waiters in the late slate. That's kind of how I'm going about it too. I do like Waiters as a potential. Again, it's a really risky play because there's a chance Waiters still doesn't even play. But yeah, let's see. Core. Yeah, I can give you guys a core. It's tricky. I mean, again, I told you guys my studs, so I'm going Anthony Davis and James Harden. Am I scared about fading LeBron James and Giannis Antetokounmpo? Of course I am. But I think those two right now paired with the Milwaukee value, like that's where I'm going right now again. So I'm going Markelle Fultz. I'm going James Ennis. That's under the assumption that Aaron Gordon does not play. If Aaron Gordon plays, and I'm worried about those magic values. That's why I told you guys, do not play big money on this slate. It is not a slate I would risk a lot because that news changes everything. Schroeder or Bledsoe? That is a tricky one. I currently do have Dennis Schroeder in my lineup because I think he goes low owned. I think people look at the last game. He saw 11 fantasy points. They're just going to avoid him. I think it sets up well for a bounce back game for Schroeder. I also like the kind of a potential big upset game for Bledsoe too. So those two guys in the mid-range I like quite a bit. I'll give the edge to Schroeder, but I like both of them at their prices. Brogdon, Harden, Eric Gordon, Gabriel, Adams, Fultz, and Nurkic, Hill. So I'm not going to get to Malcolm Brogdon with Oladipo playing. He had a decent game last time out. We're going to have Oladipo playing big minutes, so that caps his upside. I also wouldn't play Yusuf Nurkic either. Gary Clark, yeah, if Aaron Gordon's out, I think he's certainly a viable punt. Best point guard play between Augustine, Hill, Holiday, and Rondo. Well, depending on if Rondo plays. If we get 15 to 20 minutes out of Rondo, he's a really good value. Right now, though, I think the safest option is probably George Hill. FanDuel, CP3, Augustine, and Danny Green, or Hill, Fultz, and Middleton. I'd probably go with the second option there. Augustine, Dennis, Schroeder, Gordon, Ennis, Hassan, Fultz, Ennis, and AD. Yeah, I think that's kind of similar to what I'm doing. I'm rolling with Harden, Butler, Iggy, AD, Whiteside, Hill, Gabriel, and Ennis. Yeah, pretty similar to me. I also do have Whiteside in. Wesley Matthews, I'm not going to go to him. He hit his threes, but I would rather have George Hill for a little bit more. Dragic, Schroeder, Butler, Giannis, Adams, Eric Gordon, Ennis, and Whiteside. Go to fit. Hey, DK, $12 single entry. Fultz, Fournier, Duncan Robinson, AD, Bam, Shea, Eric Gordon, Milton. Thoughts? I'm fine with it. Best center's tricky. I really like Bam Adebayo if you're going mid-range. Again, I'm not doing that, so that's why I'm not getting to Bam. But I think Bam, for his upside, if not for like cheaper options, I like Steven Adams and I like Hassan Whiteside in the mid-range. Those two guys I think actually look pretty solid. Don't even mind Brook Lopez. If you're punting it, it's probably JaVale McGee and just hope he gets 15 fantasy points in 15 minutes. But yeah, the upside play there's Bam. The mid-range play, it's probably Steven Adams or Hassan Whiteside for me. Dragic or a DJJ? Dragic or DJ? Well, if you can get to Dragic, get to Dragic, obviously. Robinson and Dragic okay in the same lineup? Yeah, I think it's fine. Like Robinson, it's tricky, but I think if he is shooting well, they give him close to 30 minutes. Duncan Robinson, that is. So, yeah, Dragic is a little bit more contrarian in this slate, in my opinion. Like, he's not my favorite play for his price, but I still think he's viable for a guy that's going to play like 30-plus minutes. Thoughts on Melo? I'm not getting into him there. CP3 or Bledsoe? That's a tricky one. Obviously, they're different prices, so I like the upside more in CP3, but I kind of like Bledsoe's price. Iggy had a 4-game last game. I think he is way better today, 25 minutes last game. That is true. Like, Iguodala is a viable punt, too. I mean, a lot of punts you're not going to feel good about, right? Like, I have 3 Magic in my lineup. I don't feel good about that. I'm saying fuck it, I'm putting Waiters in both my single entries. I don't hate that idea. You know the risk, obviously. Like, there's a decent chance he doesn't play. If Waiters gets 20 minutes, though, I think he could have a really solid day for his price. Good luck. Back to work. Thanks, DK. No problem, man. Utility, Bledsoe, or Adams? That's tricky. That's really tricky. I think I'll go Steven Adams, but I like both for their prices. Giannis, 40, 15, and 5 today. Definitely out of the question. Mid-range build for you. Okay, let's see. Brogdon, SGA, Middleton, Melo, Bam, Fultz, Covington, and Adams. Yeah. I'm not super excited about Brogdon or Melo or Rocco. Jimmy, George Hill, or LeBron, Middleton. Wait, Giannis, Jimmy Butler, and George Hill, or LeBron, Milton, and Hero. I'll go the first option there. Thoughts on Aaron Holiday? He was in foul trouble last game. He probably gets 25 minutes, but I'm just not doing it. You playing anyone from the first game? I'm not. I am actually fading the first game because I'm going a little bit more stars and scrubs. Chris Silva, yeah, no one's playing. No one's playing Covington. I think Covington's okay in the mid range, but probably for others I've mentioned. Like I like the upside on Steven Adams way more than Covington. I like the upside on Goran Dragic more than Covington. I like the upside more on Eric Bledsoe than Robert Covington. Schroeder, Harden, Robinson, Clark, Bam, Fultz, Dragic, McGee. I'm good at that. Covington is decently owned. If Covington's going to be decently owned, I'm okay getting away from it. I'm not saying Robert Covington's a bad play. Again, what you're going to get out of Rocco is probably 35 minutes. He just kind of has to hit his threes. He's not going to shoot the ball a ton. He only shot the ball 6 times with no Russell Westbrook. So it's not like we're going to see Covington go and take over the game. He just kind of has to hit those corner threes. Paulie B, nice win, DK, Michigan love. Hey, thanks, man. Really do appreciate you coming in and giving me that super chat. Thanks, DK. Shout out. Yeah, no problem, man. I think we have a very similar line, DK. Yeah, did you play Daniel Berger in golf? I actually did not. I had him originally, but then figured out just play Tiger. I only played $20 in golf because I kind of forgot about it and just played it like late last night, put it in the lineup. So, no, I didn't play a lot of money there. He's going off. Let's see. That's good. I should have played him, but I played Tiger. Just why not? We've seen 45 plus from Rocco. Yeah, we have. We have, for sure. Again, he's kind of a guy that's got to get you those blocks and steals and hit the corner threes. How's Harden, Fultz, Ennis? Harden, Fultz, Ennis, 80. Whiteside, Schroeder, Clark, and Adams. Yeah, I think it looks really solid. Let's see. Steal and block upside. Yeah, that's very true. Covington saying 18%. Okay, again, I'm not opposed to Robert Covington. I'm not going to talk you guys out of Robert Covington. I think he's fine for his price. DK, opinion on 3-player swap. House, McLemore, Augustine, or Gordon, Ross, and Birch. How many minutes did Danwell House play? Played 29. House, I don't think I would play McLemore. How many minutes did he play, right? Yeah, he did play 24. That's a tricky one. I'd probably just go the second, I guess. I think the second has a little bit more upside. LeBron, Clark, or AD in House. I'm not super excited about House, but I'll go AD in House, I guess. I'm at this point, I'm planning on letting the Aaron Gordon news decide for me a good call. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm doing. I'm playing Magic guys assuming he's out. If he's in, it's going to make it tough for me. Covington hasn't broken 40 this bubble, I'm pretty sure, and he's playing 40 minutes several games without Westbrook. His upside is not that high. Yeah, again, I think Robert Covington's fine if you get him. I'm not saying Robert Covington's a bad play. I'm not saying I would get off him if we have him in. I'm just not overly excited about the play. Brogdon is 49% in the $9 with the Sharks. Is he really that high owned? Let me look at the ownership. It's a little bit surprising to me, to be honest. I guess I probably shouldn't look at my lineup so they don't have anyone in the early game. Draftkings is like down for me. I can't click on lineups. Baby utility 5.1K below. Probably going to be, let's see, 5.1 and below. I don't hate the upside, and like Fournier and Ross, like the upside is there, but they have to hit their threes. It's the same thing with Eric Gordon. So if you're shooting for upside, it might be one of those guys. I think Whiteside looks good if he gets 25 minutes. So one of those scoring dependent guards are Whiteside probably. What is your game plan if Aaron Gordon plays? I don't know. I'm probably gonna take shots on Lakers value. Like if Aaron Gordon plays, I'm hoping Rondo plays. Then I'll probably pivot to Rondo for value, and then maybe upgrade somewhere else. So ownership, it's not loading. Covington or Schroeder. I like the upside more in Dennis Schroeder. Mobile DK isn't working. Oh, on PC it is. Okay. Aaron Holiday 4%. Love it. Let me go to... I don't want to do that because then I have to show my lineup. Yeah, so I can't look at it right now, unfortunately. Yeah, it's annoying. It's not loading. All right, well, I'm gonna get out of here, guys. Sorry about starting that stream late, a few minutes late. I'll keep it. Make sure you guys follow me on Twitter, though. I'll keep you guys updated when we get the news. If Aaron Gordon plays, if he does not, I'll give you my thoughts there. So good luck, guys. Again, this is not the best slate, so do not recommend playing big. But hope you guys all win some money. And did you play Gary Clark? I have him in right now. Yeah. So good luck, guys, and I will see you all later.